Hello everyone, this is Japanese Quinn and my snoring dogs, back with yet another video that I hope entertains you all, which really shouldn't be that hard because this time you're not going to be able to see my face for the majority of the video. The reason for that being, this is my first ever top 5 video, which I am so happy to finally bring to you guys because I've been wanting to make top 5 videos for the longest now, and this is the first video that I've actually written a script for, and I'm kind of going off script right now because I made a script for the intro, but at the end of the day, I work better with my intros if I don't have a script. So this is my first top 5 video. I'm very happy to make this video. I've always loved making lists ever since I was a kid, but this isn't going to be a list type video. This is going to be more so a critique of WWE and their overall mistreatment of the WWE Divas. As you can tell by the title, hashtag GiveDivasAChance, should be obvious. But as everybody can tell, the golden era of the Divas is pretty much gone, so there's a lot of change that the WWE needs to make, and we are going to talk about all of that change today, starting with number 1. Let's get this video started. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and if you like my hat, thank you. Number 1, listen to the fans. Granted, we have heard time and time again from numerous wrestlers and wrestling media personalities that the internet wrestling community is made up of a bunch of idiots who think that they know the ins and outs of the business when really they don't know anything at all. There is some truth to that, but for the most part, at least when it comes to the women's division and the fans of the WWE Divas, the fans actually tend to make some valid points. And above all, the fans are making it known right now, as they have been for years, that they want something different from the women in the company and they are not happy with the treatment of them. That alone should be enough to bring about some type of change for the people who are bringing in revenue for your company, and that goes to you, WWE. Now granted, something to the degree of hashtag GiveDivasAChance hasn't been done, arguably because people would much rather complain than to actually do something about the thing in which they're complaining about, but attention should still be brought to the fact that the same critiques have been given about the Divas time and time again, and on the side of the Divas, the same excuses have been given time and time again. We're only given 3 minutes, you don't know how hard it is to do what we do, we work our asses off, etc. The thing is, as fans, we already know that. We don't doubt that for a second. Well, the sexist Bella Twin bashers do, but I wouldn't necessarily consider them people per se. But moving on. Fan critiques aren't meant to bash the people that they're directed towards if the critique is done in a correct manner. It's meant to offer them better, and in the case of the Divas, it shows concern for a vision that has consistently been a mess for a very long time now. And I hate to use that word to describe the division, but that's pretty much what it's been for the majority of many years. Let me expand on this a little more for those who might be confused by that statement. Number 2, make the division exciting all year round. Now let me answer a couple of questions that might be on some of your minds right now. Number 1, do I think the Divas division is absolutely horrible? No. Number 2, do I think that it is extremely disappointing that we have the talent we have and that it isn't to the degree that it should be? Absolutely yes. For years on end, or at least the years that I've actually been paying attention to WWE's women's division in the means of the year as a whole, it has not been impressive. I can't think of a single year in particular past Trish and Mickey's epic women's title feud that the women's division has been entertaining all year round, for the simple fact that it's so up and down in the means of keeping you hooked. 1 minute you care and you're invested, and the next minute WWE completely drops a storyline and it goes back to being the same bland division it's been for so long. You can see that right now with the Bella Twins feud completely being dropped and forgotten about, and now the division is pretty much boring. Well, at least until AJ came back. Hence, you don't really care anymore when that previous point is brought up. More so than being entertained, I remember watching Raw and SmackDown in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, the diva who actually deserves to be at the top finally gets a chance to show what she's got. And year after year, until I stopped watching for a long duration of time around 2010, I was disappointed. One Divas feud with an actual storyline in the time span of 12 months is absolutely unacceptable and quite frankly sad when it comes from a corporate company with an entire division dedicated to creative affairs. And with as many divas as we have right now, there's no reason why there should only be one Divas feud going on at a time. It's a waste of talent and pretty much a slap to the face of every fan who actually wants to see these girls give what they've got, even if it's just a manager's role, which leads me to the next bullet. Number 3, more female managers. If there is one woman in the WWE who has absolutely been slaughtering her career in the best way possible, that woman would have to be none other than the ravishing Russian Lana. From the moment she popped up on my TV screen, I was hooked on her. Not necessarily because she was pretty or pretty much has the best body on the roster after Naomi, because let's face it, nobody's touching Naomi in that department, but because she was different. The aura that she gave the arena when she made her debut let you know that she wasn't going to be another pretty face lost in the crowd of WWE's many divas. This arguably could be because the WWE paired her with a man who they wanted to be a big-time player for the company, but nonetheless, she took the role that was given to her and has truly made it her own from the first day until now. Now the question needs to be asked as to why WWE can't do this with other women who clearly have the capabilities to be decent managers. In particular, I think of Cameron and Eva Marie. Granted, the two aren't nearly as great in the ring as Natalya, Paige, or AJ, but that isn't to say that they're completely worthless either. Cameron has a great character, and turning her heel is one of the best things that the WWE has done with the Divas division in quite a while, or at the least for the past year. And Eva Marie is 5'8" of inches of untapped potential. Now granted, I think of the Pinocchio commercial whenever I say that, but I'm being dead serious here. And that potential doesn't necessarily have to be in the ring either. Some of the greatest divas of all time weren't very technically sound. In particular, Miss Elizabeth, Sable, Tori Wilson, and Stacy Keibler, the three former divas being directly involved in making the golden era of the Divas division as great as it was, weren't technically sound wrestlers like you would think of Natalya, Paige, or AJ. Now, before you all attack me for bringing up Elizabeth and Eva in the same breath, let me just say that this isn't a comparison between the two. If anything, Eva could be the next Sable if WWE utilizes her correctly, especially due to the heat that she gets. This is just me saying that if you don't necessarily have to be a wrestler in order to make it big in this business, there are other roles for women other than being wrestlers, and WWE needs to remember that and really utilize the women where there is said roles instead of using them as accessories when they're paired with male counterparts. The prime example being Rosa Mendes being paired with Fandango right now. She could easily be cutting promos with him and more active when he wrestles, but for the most part, and this isn't meant to be a downgrade to the work that's put into being a manager, she just stands outside of the ring and watches him wrestle. And that, my friends, is incredibly annoying. Number 4. Stop focusing the division on one or two specific girls. Doing a little bit of research before typing the script, I found out that as of right now, there are a total of 27 divas currently employed by the WWE according to their official website. Mind you, this includes Eden, JoJo, and Lillian Garcia, so 24 will probably be more accurate since they aren't actual on-air personalities in the means of having active roles like storylines or matches. Out of those 24 divas, the most prominent, for the past year at least, have arguably been 4. The Bella Twins, Paige, and AJ Lee. Granted, out of the 24 divas left, 8 of them are from NXT, and Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Charlotte have been in prominent roles over the year, but out of 16 active divas on the main roster, it's sad that only 4 have come to true prominence on weekly television. And what I mean by this is that up until now, the Bella Twins, Paige, and AJ Lee have been the ones that WWE focuses on the most. This is especially true in the means of AJ Lee. Granted, AJ has earned her spot as the number 1 diva in the company, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she has to be in the picture all of the time, especially when there are 23 more divas who could be used. We, both as fans and WWE as a company, have to remember that before she became the AJ Lee we knew today, she was coming out in the ring on green plaid shorts with bubblegum pop playing in the background. AJ grew to prominence when she developed a character, when she was given storylines, when she took the opportunities that were given to her and made them all about her. I can't think of one storyline that she was in where AJ did not, on her sheer talent alone, make herself the central figure of it. Daniel Bryan vs. CM Punk, for example, wouldn't have nearly been as interesting storyline-wise had it not been for AJ's presence, which goes back to my previous point. The women need more active roles and more distinct characters. Arguably the greatest diva of all time, Trish Stratus has stated year after year after year that the main problem with WWE is the fact that the girls don't have distinct characters and you could easily mix them up. Granted, with the racial diversity and the simple fact that a lot of the divas don't look alike right now, that may not be the case anymore. But it's still a huge problem that the majority of the divas are just women. And what I mean by that is that they don't have any distinct character that separates them from the pack. Out of the 17 divas I mentioned before, I would say that only 6 of them actually have a distinct character. Those divas being AJ, Cameron, Alicia Fox, Lana, Paige, and Tamina Snuka. AJ is the psycho girl next door, Cameron is the sassy bitch, Alicia is the regular psycho, Lana is the ravishing Russian, Paige is the punk rocker from overseas, and Tamina is the monster. I would add the Bellas on here, but let's face it, if they weren't twins, I doubt they'd have made it as far as they have by now. And save your jokes about them currently dating the two biggest WWE superstars in the company right now, because they were getting pushed like crazy even before that happened. WWE needs to do a complete overhaul of the Divas and make them actually watchable. I'm not saying that Naomi needs to turn into a stereotypical ghetto girl or that Natalya needs to don a Wicked Witch of the West costume every time she wrestles, but there needs to be more to the women than just being girls who wrestle. Invest and put time into these girls like you did with AJ, and I guarantee that a lot of the complaints and anger that fans have right now will go away. Number 5. Give them time. This is a piece of advice for both the fans and WWE corporate. The number one thing that WWE needs to do in order to make the Divas division better is to give them the time that they deserve. And this shouldn't only be limited to divas like the Bellas, Paige, and AJ Lee. If you're going to have a feud between women, you need to give them the appropriate time, not only for a match, but also to speak on the microphone or do backstage segments or whatever you need them to do in order to further that feud. Now, I'm not going to ignore WWE's attempts at trying to make the division better, because they have been trying little by little. This can be seen with the inclusion of Naomi and Natalya as more than just managers in the feud between the Usos, Cesaro, and Tyson Kidd. There have been attempts made, but these attempts are not enough. There is no reason why, yet again, your development divas should be putting on better storylines or matches than the divas who are on the main roster. Especially since the whole point of them being in development is to be on the main roster. It's not fair to the girls who are already moved up, and quite frankly, it looks bad for the company as a whole. And this isn't the first time that this has happened. Back when WWE were associated with DSW and Angel Williams, Chantel Taylor, and Chrissy Vane, better known as Angelina Love, Taylor Wilde, and Chrissy Vane, were all development divas, they consistently put on better matches than anything on the main roster. Now you see a repeat with things on NXT. This is not a good look, and I'm not going to say that's not okay, since I'm not going to demean the works of such women like Charlotte and Sasha Banks, but there's no reason why such a thing should be happening. The excitement to have these two moved up should be so that they get better than what they're getting in development right now, not less, which is what they will end up getting if that happens. Just look at what happened to Emma. Even before her arrest, she was merely Santino's goofy partner and still only wrestled 5 minutes at the max. Ask any Emma fan what they expected when WWE called her up, and that would not have been it. The divas need time to build characters, time to show that they do in fact have wrestling abilities, and overall, time to show that they can entertain and do anything that the guys can do. The women have the potentials to steal the show from the majority of the guys who get 10 minutes to do what they have to do, so why not just give them a chance instead of putting them in worthless tag team matches with absolutely no build whatsoever? And if we're really going to be blunt here, with all of the worthless tag team matches that have happened over the years, they might as well have created a WWE Women's Tag Team belt. That way the divas at least get 3 more minutes on top of the 3 minutes that they have now to push that. Overall, the WWE needs to change, and the way that the Divas division is run is pretty much unacceptable when you look at the potential that all of these girls have. There is no reason why they should only wrestle 5 minutes at the max. There is no reason why every feud, if you want to call them that, has to be the same high school-esque formula of I don't like you either, slap, backstage catfight, random matches from here on, blah blah blah, same thing every year, blah blah blah, pay-per-view match, storyline forgotten, blah blah blah, boring, boring, boring. And overall, there's no reason why on a 3-hour show such as Raw, the Divas only get a maximum 10 minutes of camera time when there are almost 20 of them on the main roster. Now, this isn't to say that the women should have an entire hour dedicated to them. This is just me saying that I feel that the Divas deserve more. The Gail Kim situation really opened my eyes to a further extent as to how WWE just doesn't care about the divas. The fact that a woman can eliminate herself from a battle royal 30 seconds into the match without anyone knowing is pretty much an embarrassment to the company. Not on Gail's behalf, which I completely understand and agree with, but on behalf of the company when nobody noticed. That alone should show that there is a very noticeable discrimination and lack of caring when it comes to the women, and that needs to change. There can be money made from the divas. DVDs, calendars, posters, etc. can be sold, but if you don't utilize them to the point where people actually care about them like you have with AJ, the first diva arguably since Beth Phoenix or Late Cool that has actually happened with, then what's the point of even having a division? You might as well just abolish it if you're not actually going to do anything or care about said division. And with that being said, that is the end of the video finally, and thank you guys so much for supporting this. I really appreciate all of you who even take the time to watch a minute of this and then get annoyed by my annoying voice and then just click off and leave me a comment about how I'm a, quote unquote gay black person or whatever it is you youngins like to throw out as an insult or whatever. But anyways, Thank you all for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If there's any other wrestling related videos that you think that I should make, or any other top 10s or top 5s you want to see, then let me know, because I do take video requests. It may take me a while to get them out, but I do them. And like I said, I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, favorite, dislike, whatever you feel you need to do to satisfy yourself. Just don't do anything very inappropriate as you're watching my video. I would greatly appreciate that. Don't kill a rabbit while you're watching my video. Please don't. And with that being said, goodbye.